restrictions below our minds, cause increase of your kind. If we ask, we'll receive. We seek, we shall find. If we knock, the door shall be open. So we ask, unified with one heart and cry for you. Oh, we want you to do what you desire. Shift our world, turn it upside down for your glory. Release your glory, Lord. Hey, we want you to do what you desire. Shift our world, turn it upside down for your glory. Release your glory, Lord. Yes, to the unexpected, move among the earth. Blow our minds. Yeah. Seek, we shall find. The door shall be open unto us. Yeah. We want you, God. Oh, shift our world. Oh, for your glory. Yeah. Somebody say we want you. Yeah. Hey, for your glory. Release your glory, Lord. Yeah. We can't wait. Yes, God. We can't wait. Oh, we want you. We just can't wait. All we want is you, God. We can't wait to do what you want to do. We just can't wait. You gotta hear everybody shout out. Yes. Oh, God, blow our minds over and over again. We just can't wait. Yes, we're
Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday to each and every one of you guys. We're so excited about another day, another conversation right here as we talk about a different priesthood. This is a priesthood pop-up conversation, and I'm so excited because tonight we have none other than the chief himself, the one that everybody calls the prophet, chief minstrel of them all, Reese Scott. He's right here on this platform with me. We're going to have some good conversations. We're going to talk about, y'all know we've been talking about it from the seats of various different prophets and offices and graces and gifts and all of the above. And so I'm just so excited that you are here with us for this conversation. I want you to take the time to share this conversation with your friends and with your families on social media. Any minstrel that you know, any musician, share this conversation with them. You want to be able to drop your questions and your comments in the comment tag below, and we're going to respond, we're going to answer, and we're going to do everything that we can just to be able to make sure that these conversations are impactful and powerful for what you are getting ready to do or how you're getting ready to move as a prophet, as a minstrel, as a created, gifted person moving forward. So y'all do know a different priesthood. This is where the conversation is based out of. A different priesthood is available on BeRefreshed.com and on Amazon. You could go and get your book because this has something to do with just worship culture as a whole and just our perspective of how we've been looking at worship, how we've been engaging in this span of worship, and what God is requiring out of us in this era. All right. And so last week we had so many conversations. It was just, we had conversations from the prophet, the publisher, and the lead shepherd. We had conversations from the apostolic gift, grace, and the intercessor. We also had a conversation from our worship leaders and worship pastors, and we talked about it in a round table style. We talked about just what it means to live out and walk out this life as kings and priests in the local assembly from their various perspectives. And as you all have shared, and as you all have said, these conversations have been absolutely powerful. So we're not going to delay the time. We're going to go ahead and jump right on into this pop-up conversation again with none other. Let me tell y'all something about him before I bring him on. This chief minstrel himself has literally birthed the sound of prophetic worship for this age. You know, we've had a little bit here and there have been some key minstrels and lead voices that have literally led the charge of prophetic worship in eras where it wasn't really big. But in this day and age, y'all, I would dare to say that he has been leading the sound of the musicians when it comes down to prophetic worship, when it comes down to everything that this priesthood represents, y'all. And this is really his life. This is something that he do. It's his life, and there is no shame in his game. Number one, he is not just a musician and a minstrel. He's also a prophet, a father, a husband. He leads, he work and serve even in the school system, in the educational system. So you know, I'm just connected with all types of educators all around. And so, y'all, he's gifted in many different ways. We have been doing music together for going on about a long time. And so, yeah, I'm excited about this conversation that we're going to have with him. So I am ready when he is. I'm just waiting for the thumbs up. I'm ready for the thumbs up when he ready to go. Yeah, well, he ready to go. He gonna give me the thumbs up. But in the meantime, between time, don't forget to share this conversation with your friends and drop your comments and your questions in the comment thread below. And like I said, he's still working out some things, so it's super. We're super excited about this conversation, y'all. Y'all know last week we was having some technical issues. We're not having technical issues today, thank the Lord. But I think he's still getting some things together with lighting and stuff like that. So, but I'm so excited because this is going to be, I think that we have not given the minstrels a voice beyond what we hear through what they produce in a church service and things of that nature. So it's going to be really good to hear his heart regarding this forward move. It's gonna be really good to hear. I don't know if he can just switch his camera view. Hold on one second. I think he's trying to get it going. Okay. So while he's doing that, there he goes. You ready, bro? Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring him on. Y'all, welcome to the platform. This priesthood pop-up conversation. My brother and friend, the chief himself, Reese Scott. If I had the applause situation thing, I would do the round of applause.
That's all right. Hey, everybody. Facebook, Instagram, everybody, all social
YouTube,
media.
everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for being a
Hello.
part. Thank you for joining us tonight, bro. For
You're
this
so welcome.
I really
You're
appreciate it.
so
We've been
welcome.
talking over the last week with other gifts and graces about walking this priesthood out and what that means to them and stuff like that. But before we dive into our conversation for real, you know, share the world who you are.
Okay.
You are.
Well, I'm Reese Scott. Everyone knows me as Reese, and so I do go by that name. It's a small little brand, so let me pub that just a little bit. Reese Scott Music. But again, as Psalmist has already went forth and started introducing me, actually we've been doing music together for about 15 years. And so, which has been amazing. So if you um, have listened to any of her music, most of the music that you hear, uh, her minister is a part of who I am as well. So thank you for that. I want to say that. Well, so make sure you pick up all of your music on those digital outlets as well. Okay, some another little pub. But one of the things I would like to say is, as far as music is concerned, I've been doing this for about, I want to say, about 20 plus years, operating in church, and I know we have a lot of who minister in church and who minister literally around the world. And listen,
Yeah.
let me encourage you guys first. Thank you for plowing where you are. Let me state that. But God is doing something different. I do want to state that as well. So this thing about a different priesthood is something that we live, something that we literally don't take for granted. But we want to make sure that we're doing it in the right perspective, understanding where God is going and what God wants to do in this time and in this season. I have been playing for everyone knows All Nations Worship Assembly for the last 18 years. As of right now, I am still doing that and plowing in worship, right? But I do make sure that I have time to pour into people. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm giving back what I understand, what I know concerning priesthood, concerning music, concerning being a Levite, concerning anything that's dealing with what God wants to do in this season. I'm doing it now. I'm taking that step forward to educate and to have people understand what it is God is really calling for and what He's really looking for out of His people, whether it's dealing with character, whether it's dealing with understanding the mysteries of God and being able to sing those things out, to play those things out, and use it in the manner that God has literally given us. So this, I want to say this is definitely a tool in the tool bag or in the toolbox that we use to get people closer to God, yes, but also to strengthen our relationship within ourselves, just for the people to receive, but it's also for you to receive as well. So we can go ahead and start the conversation with what priesthood is and what that looks like. I'm ready for
Yeah.
when you are, Psalmist.
Yeah, that's so good because first of all, just you, even what you just did is huge. The
Yeah,
musicians don't get a lot of honor, and
yeah,
not what they deserve. They don't get a lot of honor, and so I join my brother in saying we applaud and honor
yes.
every
We applaud and
minstrel that
honor.
plow through the ground
Yeah,
Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, whenever your
yeah,
church has service,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
plowing through, and
And so,
especially during the pandemic,
oh
man, like
yeah,
during the
that was
pandemic,
that was
it was
huge.
rough.
Oh, it was rough. It was, listen, it was rough naturally, and it was also rough spiritually, because I really believe, and I'll just put this in here. I really believe a lot of people were going through a lot spiritually, trying
Yeah.
to, find God and hear what He's saying, within that season, and it was definitely rough. And people are still recouping. I know musicians are still recouping, singers are still recouping,
Mhm.
worship leaders are still recouping from everything that's happened within that 2020 year, even up to now. We're catching
Yeah.
up and we're getting back, but I believe God changed the conversation. God has changed the
Mm.
direction and where He wants His people to be and what He wants His people to do, for
Yeah,
sure.
and that's so good. So let's like dive right on in. From the seat
Okay.
of a minstrel, we've been talking about sitting in our seats as kings and priests, and the minstrel has such a weighty responsibility when it
Hmm.
comes just to stewarding or shamaring the atmosphere within the church setting.
Yeah.
But you guys plow with leaders and visionaries to bring about life and to bring about the specific sound to that
Yeah.
house. I know you labored
Yeah.
for about 10 years building the sound of All Nations
Yeah.
which we
Yeah.
love, we all love and listen to, and all the above, between the All Nation Collective, just all of the albums that was already released and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
spent years building that sound foundationally, single-handedly, like as a keyboard player, like it, before y'all had all of the other, stuff like that. Like I
Yeah.
remember it was just you and Rico, just
Yeah.
playing, and y'all built the sound of that particular house. So I want to deal with that from the perspective of a
Mm.
minstrel sitting in the seat, building the sound of a house, because it's a part of their identity. Like
Very much so.
you sitting in that seat is absolutely weighty to the
Yeah.
identity of any local assembly. So let's talk about that.
You know what? Within sitting in a seat like that, or even like this, there are things that we as minstrels do, and or at least I should say we should do. And I think
Yeah.
one of the things that's helped me through the years is making sure I understand the vision of the house, but also connecting and partnering with God concerning that house, right?
Yeah.
And I dare not take this position as well, I'll say it like this. I'm sorry, I'll say it in this particular manner. I think what it boils down to is just having a consistent relationship with the Father, to not just accommodate what happens in a church service, but what He wants to do actually in that church service.
Yeah.
Most times what we end up doing is try figuring out, hey, you know what, well, this feels good, this sounds good, so this should work, or this should be the thing. But if I could just tell you one thing, is that does not happen or work all of the time. You
Yeah.
have to be in tune with what God is wanting to do in an atmosphere.
Yeah.
We can't we just can't solely just think just rely on the thing of being, oh well, that feels good, oh this will make the people move, or this will shift the people, because we can also damage
Ooh.
what God is doing. And one of the things we want to make sure we do not do is damage the atmosphere or offer strange fire, right?
Man.
If you're going to be a priest, there should be certain things that you should do, whether it's consecrating and praying. It's not, I tend to I want you to think about it like this. We have to make sure that we sit in that place of where we're worshiping, right? We don't want to
Yeah.
make sure We don't want to be in a place and say, oh, you know what, I don't know, I don't understand. I believe we're past that time. God has given us time and time again to, honestly, and grace and mercy, to get this thing right. What we
Yeah.
have to do as a minstrel, and I want to make sure that I'm covering all bases. So I'll just say the music department, we all have to be on one accord with one, not just one sound, but we also have to be on one accord with understanding that this is just not for one, just yourself. This is for the ones that you're ministering to as well. So there's a lifestyle that you have to live within that. And it has to be priestly. It can't be anything else. It can't be anything other than, you know what? Hey, I'm speaking the heart of the Father, and so I have to make sure that I'm being that and that I'm doing that. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It really does. So with that being the case, from a minstrel's perspective, what is being a priesthood? We see the priesthood company kind of develop in David's time in First
Yes,
Chronicles, and you have the Asaph and the Jeduthun and the Heman. You have them in their
yes.
respective role. But for our present day, can you speak to what is a minstrel in this priesthood?
A minstrel in this priesthood speaks to, and I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. So I have my sister on here, so she'll get me together if it's in error or wrong. But the thing is, as what it looks like, it does not look like the same as what it was before. It's a lot different. And when I say a lot different, I'm speaking to, we're not just looking at this thing just one sided. I believe there is two things that we have to make sure that we have within this. Um, One, we already spoke about character, but I think the development of this comes from, again, hopefully, I don't want to crush anybody, but it comes
Say
from
the truth.
just
Speak the
pure.
truth.
It comes from pure honest worship, not David's worship. We have this new order of when we started to talk about Melchizedek and all of those things.
Yeah.
These are things that we have to begin to start to walk into. And I'm not saying that what David did was wrong or anything like that, but we have to now position ourselves to follow the order after what God is intending and what God
Yes.
is wanting from that. And I think, David was a great template, but David is not the only template. So we
Woo.
have to look. We have to look, and it goes with studying, guys. It really, honestly, goes with studying. And a priesthood in this particular matter goes way beyond what David's done. David again was a great template, but we have to make sure that we're progressing with what God is doing with what the sound is now and what He wants from the people now. And
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And I think it's if we go really dive into it, I think there's a misconception on that it was just only one way. And I
Mm.
don't I don't want to disturb anything or move anything, but the thing is there is a way that God is looking for now. There's a way
What,
that He's looking for now.
what is that way? You the chief, so you got to give us language for it. What is that way? Like is God looking for
Okay.
okay, let's talk about like you, for example.
Okay.
You are extremely creative on
Hmm.
every and all sides, but you're also too a prophet. I mean,
Okay.
born bred
Yeah.
prophet, right? So what
Yeah.
you see, what you hear, what you feel, like you're extra sensitive, especially in those moments of worship.
Very
And
much
you
so.
have had ability to not only be able to receive that heavenly intel, but to also be able to build that or create that picture, for people, externally. Even when you do Scott music plug, when you do the prayer instrumentals and stuff, people ask and they request it, like you tap
Yeah.
into the Lord and you allow that to kind of just help you navigate through.
Yeah.
And you said there's not just one way of doing these things. And so how do you manage all of the different
Yeah. Um. um. Well, I just don't do it on Sunday, and I just don't do it on Wednesday. I do it every day. And I
yeah.
think that's one of the not final pieces, but that's one of the biggest pieces of what this is. You have to do this every day. You can't pick and then put it down. If you want to put it down, you can, but you have to know that you're going to be lacking in a particular area.
Mm,
I know for me, what I have to do is literally just shutting myself off to the world and causing myself to be what God wants me to be in that particular moment. You put me out there, so I do prophetic for people when they ask. So the thing is, I'm not able to do them just merely off of me just playing and just using my skill.
right.
I have to I have to dive myself or place myself in an arena literally with God. That's it.
Mhm.
I'm placing myself within an arena with God to one hear.
Yeah.
You have to hear. You have to be able to hear His voice. The thing is, you cannot just again, just rely on the skill. We need skill, but we also need the anointing, right? But the
Yeah.
thing is, we have to be able to hear that. And the only way you'll be able to hear something like that, or even hear a different sound, or even not just sound itself, frequency, sounds that you've never heard before. You have to be able to open yourself up to that. And I think what's happening now in church, we're so used to, okay, it sounds like this, dunga 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 dunga. It's not. It's really much more to it than just that. It's a whole lot of things that need to take place. Again, let's deal with heart posture for a second. If our hearts are not postured in the way of where again I say where God is and what God wants from you, you will not be able to attain this at all. One, well, two, the other thing is you really have to endow yourself or throw yourself into it. You just can't live this particular priesthood and not have relationship with God. You have to talk to him, and we're talking to him. He's going to give you certain instructions on what the people need within that in a ministry setting, in a ministry assignment. And because we've gotten away from calling it a gig, because it's not that. It's not some just mere little thing that you do. It's something literally that you live, and that's what priesthood is about. Priesthood is about living a life not just set apart for the master's use, as they used to say. But the thing is, you are setting yourself apart from what the earth is doing. Now, I hope I don't hit anyone too bad with this, but the thing is, we have to look at this thing, dive into this thing when we talk about music on a bigger scale. The thing is, we cannot follow what's happening on the secular arena. The thing is, you have to be a set yourself apart from that, because what we're following and what we're following after is not God. When we do that, the whole thing is, okay, well, that's a trend. That's a trend. This is working. This is working. That's working. That's working. And so I'm gonna follow that. But a lot of you follow that, and what ends up happening is you become stale, stuck, and honestly, it becomes a stink unto God, because what we're offering up is strange fire unto the Lord, and we should not be offering up strange fire unto the Lord, because He's going to spew us out of His mouth. We don't want that. What we want to do is make sure that our minds and that our hearts, everything about who we are, is aligned with what God is looking for and what He's wanting out of us. One of the things that I've learned, literally, and I've learned a lot in 18 years, guys. So this is not just, be coming to bash anything or bash a ministry or anything like that. But I want you to understand the truth about what God has said about you. One of the things I had to literally, honestly walk through is what God has called me. He's called me a friend. He's called me a son. And I have to begin to live that. I have to live that. And anyway, you have to understand that we are a part of the priesthood. So if we're a part of a priesthood, well, let's look at that. We have kingship. We have all of these things that we can equate, or that you have understanding about what that looks like. There are certain guards. There are certain things that we need to have, or certain things that need to be represented to make sure that we're a part of that priesthood. And so it's not just a nice word to use. If you are a priest, there's a way that you should walk. There's a way that you should talk, and there's a way that you should even look. And I'm not going to get all the way into that, but there in the Bible, if you do a deep study, there were clothes or cloaks or things that you had to put on. You understand what I'm saying? To make sure, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm set apart for this. Oh no, he's speaking for God, and that's who he is, and that's what he's doing. The thing is, we cannot negate those things about it. God's going to give instruction concerning the local church. Well, he has given instruction concerning the local church that we're not ready for. We're not ready for. And I'm saying that from the seat of a minstrel. Now, how can I say that from the seat of a minstrel? It's because I'm living the life.
Yeah.
I'm living the life. And I mean, we have these things and say, okay, well, he's a musician. Yeah, I'm a musician. Yes, I'm that too. There's a certain level of professionalism that I use when I go out to minister in different areas. But guess what? I use it in ministry as well.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So we can't say, hey, well, I'm gonna be this way, but because when people call, they're looking for something. Yeah, they're looking for what you possess and what you host and what you have. And if it's not the Holy Ghost, I don't want it.
Man, I mean,
if it's not that.
And that's real. That's real. Like a lot of people are really looking for God, and sometimes, and this may step on toes, but this is candid priesthood conversation, because one of the biggest things is just there is no, I don't think there should be any defining lines between musicianship and minstrelship. David had, minstrels that
both.
were skilled and anointed. Absolutely, it was skilled and anointed.
Both.
And so you talked about earlier, you talked about studying, being able to study and be discipled in this thing with the Lord. But we have a lot of musicians that study songs and study music to duplicate, instead of actually, like, there's an imbalance. They will study music to duplicate, but won't study God to replicate.
Listen, Oh, replicate. Well, the word. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The word should actually be reproduce, not just
Yeah.
replicate. Reproduce.
Yeah.
We there is a there is a thing in us that we should be able to create ones after us, right? Not to say that we are the same, because the church has been doing that all greatly. We reproduce these ones. Oh, you know what? Oh, he sound like Bishop so and so. Oh, he sound like yada yada yada. And that's just not the thing. God doesn't want any copycats, y'all. He don't want
Exactly.
any copycats. The Lord understands this about us, and He said this. He knows the number of hairs we have on our head, right? So, which means everyone is not, one, not the same,
Mhm.
and there's something that, and two, there's something that I possess that God wants out of me,
Yeah.
which does not look like my friend or partner or whatever the case is. The thing is, there is a specific DNA that we should host and that we should have, and and again, that DNA is Jesus, right? That's
Right.
the ultimate. That's the ultimate goal. He was the one who came before us and showed us the way to go. Now, with all of that being said, years later, here we are now in this place, still not doing a mere of what he has done, a
Yeah.
small fraction of what he's done. Sitting in the minstrel seat, we have so much that we sit upon, right? And that people see and things like that. But we have to make sure that, hey, it's the right vision or right perspective of what needs to happen in this. And that's what priesthood is. That
Yeah.
priesthood, it looks totally different from, okay, we can use David again and say, you know what? Yes, he said, God said that he was one after his heart and all of those things. But let's go further than that. When you get to that, how does that support? How does that look now? That
Yeah.
looks like, okay, well, you know what? Sold out. I'm committed. If you want to be churchy like that, but the whole thing is you want to, you have to, but you have to, and it's such a crutch, and it's such a disservice for having one just musicianship. You need to have both skills. You have to have both skills. It's something that I teach and tell musicians all the time. The thing is, you cannot just sit there and just learn this music. What is that music doing for you?
Right. Right.
What is
Right.
that music? How is that music? How is that music going to change a person? Hallelujah. Who's dealing with depression, which are
Mhm.
real things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Musicians deal with depression too, y'all. How about
Yeah.
that? How about sometime we can play in our depression? How
Woo.
how 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 about whatever mood we are in? How about we put that out in the air as well? Which is, well, that can't operate in the priesthood. We can't have all of these things of iniquity and even self sabotage. We can't have none of that, because we started to play that over the people, and guess what? The people come back bound. The people leave out bound when they're supposed to walk into a place and be healed. I'll give you this: David played before Saul, right? David played before Saul and was able to what? Cast the spirit of, or the devil, however, whatever version you want to use, or whatever verbiage you want to use. He was able to get that spirit eradicated from him.
Yep.
That's the type of power that I want. That's the type of power that we need to possess altogether. That's what the priesthood is now. We don't have time to sit around and just say, you know what? Oh, I'm playing this song, or this feels good. We don't have time for that anymore, because we have people who are dying, not just physically.
Yeah.
We have people dying spiritually, and I believe God is coming back for of course, He's coming back for a church that has all
With a
of these.
squad wrinkle.
Yeah, but I believe there's more to it than that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's more than that. He's just coming back for a church. He's coming back for a people.
Man.
He's coming back for a people, and those people need to be of that priesthood. They need to be of that priesthood, because you just can't get anywhere just off the mere fact of just sitting somewhere.
Man.
There are going to be times where God's going to cause you to have to move out, one, on faith. You can't never do this thing without having faith.
My God.
everything that I'm expressing to you now is literally something I'm walking through and continue to walk through daily.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
not just that. This is just not a, hey, a one time thing. This is not that. This is a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
And once we understand that, I believe we'll be a little better as a priesthood community.
Man, you talked about
Yeah,
that spewing over the atmosphere and what's in you, like being impacting people. And this priesthood
yeah,
sitting in these seats is something powerful, because you have to definitely evaluate and be careful about what you carry in your spirit, because if you are not careful with what you carry in your spirit, that thing can infect a room so bad. And the minstrels, because of frequencies and waves and stuff, like it
man.
travels a lot faster than somebody
Listen,
talking. It
yeah,
travels a lot faster than all of that. And so that level of impartation, like minstrels are mindful of the impartation in any setting. And
they should be. They
they
should
don't,
be.
right, they should be, and a lot of them don't. And so you wonder why you got lust running all around in your church. It could be
Yeah,
because through the airwaves, what's being released without people noticing is this perverted spirit that's
yeah,
being imparted into the air and the atmosphere, or hireling spirit that's
yeah,
being released, or that attitude and that mindset that's being released in the atmosphere, all because you want somebody to play it right. And so there is such a
yeah,
thing of spewing over the
yeah.
atmosphere in that, and the minstrels in their seat, man, govern
Yes,
that
sir.
level of
Yes, ma'am.
traffic and impartation. And let's speak to that a little bit more, because
Yeah,
you mentioned it, but we don't care about the musician enough to
yeah,
speak to that part that makes
yeah,
sure that they're healthy. I mean, I'm not saying it's all churches, but a good
yeah.
portion of them not.
Oh, you listen. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you this. I think as it pertains, and I know that we're in a month where we're talking about mental health and different things like that. I'm here to tell you that it is a real thing. It's a
Jeez.
real thing, and we don't spend enough time speaking about that because one, we're afraid of it, and we don't know how to deal with it. And we have we have ways that God has told us to deal with these certain things. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, we come in, um we could be drunk or whatever, but that's being placed on in the atmosphere of where we're supposed to be giving all worship and honor to a king who birthed us, who's built us for a time and a season like this.
Yeah.
It's really heartbreaking to hear because I mean, over the years we've lost kind of great people.
Yeah.
Even here in our city, we've lost a number of people. But the
Yeah.
thing is, we don't talk about that. We'll run our musicians ragged,
Jesus.
and we'll run our minstrels ragged, and we'll run our music department until literally the wheels fall off. But your houses are messed up, you know what I'm saying? But we
Yeah.
want them to produce this thing. The thing about that is, if you want me to continue to produce like that, you should make sure I'm well. You should
Yeah.
make sure I'm well. And I'm not just talking about monetarily. Hey, how are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on with you? And I think we get away from that because we want to make, and I'm sorry, because we do have many churches who do this. We just want the show to be ran and the show
Yeah.
to be perfect and all of those things. The only one who is perfect is God.
Yeah.
He's perfect, and
Yeah.
so and even in that, yes, we still plow and we still move, but who is really concerned about the heart of the man or woman
Woman. Yeah.
who is standing before you, ministering to you? You
Yeah.
don't you We sometimes don't understand why it is, we go through certain things, but those things, we still have a life outside of that ministry that you see platformed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
everyone wants it. Everyone wants to be a part of it. Everyone think it's lavish. No, sometimes let me tell you, and I'm gonna tell you, I have bruises and scars to show you that this thing is really a real thing.
Yeah.
Priesthood is a real thing because you go into battle sometimes and you're fighting battles. Wait a minute, for not just for yourself, you're fighting battles for other people. Other
Yeah.
people are being blessed. This is a true one, y'all. Other people are being blessed by what it is that I've done years ago, but I had to step into a place where I had to start to receive that for myself. And guess what? It was
Mm-hmm.
hard. It was
Yeah.
hard. We don't talk about that. You know, people,
Man.
I'm blessed. I was blessed, man of God. But you know what? Hey, I'm not feeling too well. You know, I'm sick.
See.
You know, I'm this, I'm that. You know, things happening or going on. Oh, my home life is not right. You know what I mean? The
Right.
environment in my home is not right. You know, those are things that when you develop or when you start to live out this thing in priesthood, God is going to deal with that and manage that. But then He's going to place you around the people who's going to be able to, who you're going to be able to talk to, and who you're going to be able to pour into, but they also
Yeah.
pour back into you. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Man.
It's a lot.
I
But
mean,
we spew
yeah.
that out. We spew that out. We spew that out. We bleed over the people, and we don't necessarily check that. Or sometimes our leaders don't check it. You know, that's I think that's
Yeah.
the bigger part of that. But you know,
Yeah.
it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
And so sitting in these seats, the minstrels, you have to be mindful, and even those around them have to be mindful and actually consider the wellness of your minstrels, because the atmosphere can be tremendously impacted.
It can
And
be impacted.
supernatural impartation is taking place, but we don't
Whew.
really know. We can't pinpoint an order starting place, because and it could just simply come from you checking in with the
Check
minister.
in.
You okay? You all right?
You all right?
You good? Your family okay? Y'all need anything? Just checking in with those that have labored for
That
the
is so
identity,
good.
the DNA of your ministry, of your ministry and of your church, or any type of movement, that you're doing and stuff like that. Like we've had this brother
We'll
sister
have,
relationship for a very long time, so we check in with each other. You
yeah,
all right?
we
You
have
need
to.
anything? Our families do that with one another, and so
Hmm.
that's one of the things I want to begin to do intentionally, to start putting honor back on the minstrels, is making
Yeah,
sure that we ensure that you guys are well, because in these seats it's massive moves of impartation.
very
Massive.
much so, very much so, and
Yeah.
it's a huge responsibility too, and I don't think we speak to this enough, you know, and you know, with mental health and different things like that, but we just don't speak to the whole thing of, hey, the whole man, and I believe God doesn't want us to continue to run ourselves into the ground.
Yeah.
He wants us actually to be built up and to be healthy in where we are, healthy
Yeah.
in where we are, and I think
That's
that's
so
that's
good.
that's a real thing. That's a real thing, and but I also believe that that's a thing of being priests. But God has built us. God has built us in a way, so that, hey, when there are storms and battles that come to us, we are able to manage and we're able to fight through them. But we're able to fight them in a healthy manner. It's not. It's something for us to sit in a place and be ill, you know, or bruised, and we still go and fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something, you know, that shows the level of strength or commitment you have. But you have to make sure that, again, you are well in all of this, and I believe that's a part of it as well. It's a part of that priesthood.
We're gonna have to do a part two of this. That's just gonna deal with just that part alone, because I don't
Yeah,
think that we ministered to that part enough. I don't think we
no, we
do.
don't.
So we're gonna have
No,
to
we
do a
don't.
part two of this, bro. So cause
Okay.
I know you carry that burden for us, but us in order for us to actually be able to manage our seats, we have to do well in this
Yeah,
area. So
very much so.
we're gonna have to plan for a part two.
Oh God.
And I was and I do want to say thank you so much for just
Oh, you're
sharing
welcome.
what it is to do life from this seat, because it is not something to be taken lightly. at all
Yes.
whatsoever. And you spoke to that throughout this whole conversation. But part two gonna have to come up. So we're gonna schedule some time to do some part two. If you
Okay.
are a minstrel, I'm telling you, from one
Yeah.
minstrel to another,
To
he knows
another. Yeah.
he knows what it's like to carry that weight. So we're gonna have more conversations today because we just don't do that enough for minstrels at all. So
Yeah.
um
Very much so. I want to thank you and honor you for this time too. Thank you so much.
yeah.
And I know I tell you this all of the time in private, but I'm doing it publicly. Thank you.
Oh
Thank you.
no, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. And I am for just everything
Yeah.
that you do.
Yeah.
Everything that you do, like it's just absolutely phenomenal and it's impactful to the body. We've been blessed by it so far, and so now it's time for that honor to come back. It's time for that
Oh
honor.
yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much, bro. Again, I want to encourage you guys, share this conversation with your friends. We're gonna come back for part two, and we're gonna talk about this spewing in the seat situationship, and
Yeah,
uh and then continue to minister to minstrels and stuff alike. If you have any questions or anything, drop it in the comments. I'll make sure that Reese gets them, and so he can give you some counsel and some intel regarding that, or we all can answer them,
for sure.
so that you can continue to be the best minstrel that God has called you to be, and we're rooting
Yes.
for that. So,
I'm gonna
um,
say this.
uh-huh.
Get the book, y'all.
I'm
Get
gonna
a
say,
deep. Get the book.
get the book of different priesthood. Now, it speaks on it from so many different aspects regarding worship coaching, just our mindsets regarding
Yes,
it. But you can get it on BeRefreshed.com or on Amazon, and go digest it and stuff like that. But we're gonna have to definitely tap into this spewing in the seat situation. This is huge.
wow.
That's huge.
That may be a book.
Yeah, I know. I just spewing in the seat, spewing. Oh God, Lord have
Yeah,
mercy. We'll see
yeah.
what happens, but share this conversation once again. Thank you, bro. Thank you guys for
You're
joining us
welcome.
tonight. We hope that you were impacted by this conversation, and stay tuned for part number 2 of this one about the minstrel. And maybe we'll just do a holistic one about spewing in the seat, because everybody in some way, shape, form, or fashion be spewing in some type of seat,
Oh
and they
yeah.
they
Oh
shouldn't be.
yeah. We shouldn't be. Right.
Not at all. We love y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank you again, bro. And we'll
Are
talk
you
to y'all
welcome?
soon.